The next morning brought new challenges. Kate awoke before dawn, stretching muscles sore from the previous day's tests. The Vraxian camp was already active. Their species required less sleep than humans. Kate pulled on her boots and stepped outside. Her tent. The sky was turning from black to deep purple as the sun approached the horizon. Kate spotted Shax standing alone near the edge of the camp. The Vraxian commander was staring at the stars. Her forearms crossed in what Kate had learned was a posture of deep thought. "Trouble sleeping?" Kate asked, approaching quietly. Shax turned, her yellow eyes glowing in the dim light. "The stars look different from your world. The constellations are wrong." She pointed with one clawed hand. "That bright one there. On my world it was barely visible. Now it dominates your night sky." Kate looked up. "It's called Sirius. The brightest star in our sky." Shax made a clicking sound. "We called it the Hunter's Eye. A bad omen." She turned to Kate. "Fully for 10 generations. My people have fled the hunt shadow. 10 worlds we settled. 10 worlds we lost. I am tired of running." Kate nodded, understanding. "I would be too. The tests today will be different," Shax said. "More dangerous. The hunt shadow will not offer easy challenges." Kate smiled grimly. "Good, neither will I." The third day of testing focused on survival. The Vraxians led Kate deep into the forest to a series of caves carved into a mountainside. The entrance was narrow, barely wide enough for the broad-shouldered aliens. To pass through inside is darkness, Shax explained. "No light sources provided. You must navigate by other means. Find the center chamber and retrieve the marker. There are hazards." Kate peered into the darkness. "What kind of hazards?" The alien commander made that clicking sound again. "Nothing that will kill you permanently." Kate raised an eyebrow at the qualifier but said nothing. She checked her gear. A simple knife, a canteen of water, and a small medical kit. No flashlight. No technology was allowed. For this test, the Vraxian warriors had each completed the challenge using their natural advantages. Their eyes could see better in darkness than human eyes. Their sense of smell was more acute. But Kate had other strengths. She entered the cave, the darkness swallowing her immediately. The temperature dropped several degrees. The air smelled of damp stone and something else, something alive. Kate moved slowly, letting her eyes adjust to the minimal light coming from the entrance. Behind her, she heard the Vraxians settling in to wait. Kate closed her eyes. She had trained for situations exactly like this, sensory deprivation tactics. The key was to use her other senses. Instead of fighting the darkness, she embraced it. She ran her fingers along the cave wall, feeling the texture of the stone. She listened to the subtle sounds, the drip of water, the distant echo of moving air. She moved deeper into the cave system, following the air current. Cave systems always had airflow patterns. Understanding those patterns could lead to the center or to exits. Kate kept one hand on the wall, counting her steps and turns, creating a mental map. Something skittered across the floor ahead. Kate froze. Her heart rate increased, but she controlled her breathing. Whatever lived in these caves had adapted to the darkness. It would have advantages, but also weaknesses. Kate crouched, lowering her center of gravity. She picked up a small stone and tossed it ahead. The sound of it landing was followed by a hiss, then movement, rapid and approaching. Kate stayed perfectly still as something brushed past her in the darkness. It felt scaled, and cold cave dwellers typically relied on vibration and heat signatures rather than sight. Kate remained motionless, letting her body temperature adjust to the cave's coolness, making her harder to detect. The creature moved away, apparently losing interest. Kate continued deeper, following the subtle hints of the cave itself. The sound of dripping water grew louder. She found herself at the edge of an underground pool. The water was cold and still. Kate dipped her fingers in, feeling the current. A slight pull to the left indicated water flow. She followed the water's edge. The cave ceiling lowered, forcing her to crouch, then crawl. The space was tight, claustrophobic. Kate controlled her breathing, focusing on the task. Her elbows and knees scraped against rough stone. Finally, the passage widened again. Kate felt a change in the air. Less damp, more open. She had reached a larger chamber. She stood slowly turning in a complete circle, trying to sense what was around her. The darkness remained absolute, but there was a presence. Something was watching her. Kate remained still, letting whatever it was make the first move. She heard breathing heavy and rhythmic. Coming from above, Kate looked up, though she could see nothing. The creature dropped, landing with a heavy thud on the cave floor. It growled, a sound that echoed off the walls. Kate could sense its size, larger than her, perhaps as large as a Vraxian. She stood her ground, showing no fear. Movement would trigger a predatory response. The creature circled her. She could feel its heat as it passed close enough to touch. Kate waited for her moment. When the creature was directly in front of her, she acted. She clapped her hands together, the sound explosive in the confined space. The sudden noise confused the creature. Its echo bouncing off the walls created the impression of multiple threats. Kate used the distraction to move quickly deeper into the cave. Behind her, the creature roared in frustration. Kate kept moving, following the subtle draft of air that suggested a larger space ahead. She found herself in what felt like a massive chamber. The echo of her footsteps indicated high ceilings and wide walls. This had to be the central chamber. Kate moved carefully, sweeping her hands in front of her, searching for the marker. The Vraxians had not specified what it looked like, only that she would know it when she found it. Her fingers brushed against something smooth and cool. A pedestal of some kind. Kate ran her hands over it, feeling a small object resting on top. It was warm to the touch. Unlike the stone around it, it pulsed slightly like a heartbeat. The marker. Kate picked it up. It fit in the palm of her hand and continued to pulse with warmth. Kate turned to leave, then froze. The creature from before was not alone. There were others. Kate could hear them moving, surrounding her. Their breathing, their claws scraping against stone. Kate clutched the marker, considering her options. The creatures had her surrounded. The way she had come in was blocked. She needed another exit. Kate closed her eyes, focusing on the air currents. There was a slight breeze coming from her right, barely noticeable but present where air flows. Kate thought there must be an opening. She moved slowly toward the breeze. The creatures followed, maintaining their distance. Kate kept the marker close, feeling its warmth increase. Was it responding to the creatures or to something else? Kate followed the warmth, letting the marker guide her. The pulsing increased as she moved in a specific direction. The creatures began to close in, their growls more threatening. Kate moved faster, following the marker's guidance. She found herself at what felt like a solid wall. The marker pulsed frantically in her hand. Kate pressed it against the wall. Nothing happened. The creatures were closing in. Kate could feel their heat, their presence. Just feet away, she pressed the marker harder against the wall, willing something to happen. The stone beneath her fingers shifted slightly. Kate pushed, and a section of wall rotated, revealing a passage. Sunlight streamed in, momentarily blinding her. After the absolute darkness, Kate stumbled through the opening, emerging onto a ledge halfway up the mountain. The marker still clutched in her hand. The wall closed behind her, cutting off the pursuing creatures. Kate blinked in the bright sunlight, her eyes watering after so long in darkness. Below her, the Vraxian warriors stood looking up in surprise. Kate held up the marker triumphantly. It glowed green in the sunlight. Shax approached as Kate made her way down to them. "How did you find the secondary exit?" the alien commander asked. "No other species has discovered it without prior knowledge." Kate held up the marker. "It led me there. Somehow." It knew. Shax took the marker, examining it. "The marker responds to Vraxian genetic material. We placed our essence within it. It should not have responded to you." "A human," Kate shrugged. "Maybe we're not so different after all." The Vraxian commander studied Kate with new interest. "Perhaps not," she conceded. "Let us return to camp. The final test awaits, and it is the most difficult yet." As they walked back, Kate noticed the Vraxian warriors treated her differently, their posture less dismissive, their clicks and hisses sounding more respectful. She had passed tests designed to be impossible for a human. She had done what they thought could not be done, but Kate knew the real test was still to come. The Hunt Shadow would not be impressed by cave escapes and moved boulders. They would come with weapons and tactics, honed across countless worlds against countless species. Kate wondered if all the training in the world would be enough. In the distance, thunder rumbled. A storm was approaching. The storm broke just as they reached camp. Rain fell in heavy sheets, lightning split the sky. Thunder shook the ground. The Vraxians seemed unconcerned by the weather, their scaled skin repelling water. Kate took shelter in her tent, changing into dry clothes and reviewing what she had learned. The Vraxians were powerful warriors. Their forearms and natural strength made them formidable in direct combat, but they lacked creativity. They followed patterns, rules. Kate had noticed this in every challenge. She could use that. A shadow fell across her tent entrance. Kate looked up to see Shax standing there, rain streaming off her blue scales. "It is time for the final test," the Vraxian commander said. Kate nodded, grabbing her jacket. In the rain, Shax made a sound that might have been a laugh. The Hunt Shadow do not wait for fair weather. They walked through the downpour to a clearing at the edge of camp. A large metal container sat in the center of the muddy field. Other Vraxian warriors gathered around despite the storm, their yellow eyes gleaming in the dim light. "This is our most sacred test," Shax explained. "The trial of mind. The container holds a creature from our homeworld, one of the few we managed to save before the Hunt Shadow destroyed everything. We call it a thought thief. It feeds on mental energy. It will attempt to break your mind. Find your fears, use them against you." Kate approached the container cautiously. "What do I need to do?" Shax gestured to a small platform beside the container. "Stand there. Place your hand on the sensor. The creature will make contact. You must resist it for 10 minutes. That is all." 10 minutes didn't sound difficult. Kate had undergone psychological testing before sensory deprivation, hallucination inducement. She was trained to withstand interrogation. The other test subject, Shax continued. "The average time before breaking is 2 minutes. Our strongest warrior lasted 8. The creature learns from each encounter. It gets stronger." Kate stepped onto the platform. Rain plastered her hair to her face. The Vraxians formed a circle around her, their expressions unreadable. Kate placed her hand on the sensor pad. A cold sensation spread up her arm into her chest, into her head. Then darkness. Kate found herself standing in an empty space. No light, no sound, no sensation. Nothing stretched in all directions. Kate turned slowly, looking for something, anything. A reference point, a horizon. "Hello?" she called. Her voice made no sound. A whisper answered from everywhere, and nowhere at once. So small, so fragile, Kate felt, rather than heard the words. They formed directly in her mind, bypassing her ears. "You think you can face the Hunt Shadow?" The voice continued. "You cannot even face yourself." The emptiness around Kate shifted. Images began to form. Familiar scenes. Her childhood home. Her first day of military training. Her parents' funeral after the accident. The accident, Kate thought. No. The scene solidified. Kate watched herself, age 11, sitting by her mother's hospital bed, the machines beeping, the doctors shaking their heads. "Your fault," the voice whispered. "You asked them to drive that night. You made them go out in the storm." Kate closed her eyes. That was long ago. It's not relevant. The scene changed. Kate in combat. Training. Her instructor shouting as she failed again and again. Too small. Too weak. Her instructor yelled. The other recruits laughing. "Always the smallest," the voice said. "Always the weakest. How can you protect anyone? You couldn't save your parents. You can't save Earth." Kate felt anger rising. She pushed it down. Emotion was a weakness here. She needed to stay calm. Focused, the voice laughed. "Such control, such discipline. But underneath you're terrified. Terrified of failing. Terrified of watching everyone Die just like you watched your parents die. New images. Kate walking through the ruins of a city. Buildings crumbling, bodies in the streets. The sky dark with hunt shadow ships. This isn't real, Kate told herself. This hasn't happened. Not yet. The voice agreed, but it will, and you will be there to see it. All because you weren't strong enough. Kate focused on her breathing, blocking out the images. The voice. This was a test. A simulation. The creature was reading her fears, playing them back to her. Kate had trained for this. She built mental walls around her core self, creating distance between her consciousness and the invaded portions of her mind. The voice grew angry. You cannot hide from me, human. I see everything. I know your every weakness. The emptiness around Kate churned, images flashing faster. Her parents, her failures, her fears, friends dying, worlds burning. The earth consumed in fire. Kate stood unmoved in the center of the storm. She accepted each image, acknowledged it, then let it pass. Mental discipline was about acceptance, not resistance. The creature howled in frustration, shifting tactics. The emptiness vanished. Kate found herself back in her childhood home. Her mother stood before her, alive, smiling. Kate. She said, her voice exactly as Kate remembered it. I miss you so much. Mom, Kate whispered, knowing it wasn't real, but feeling the pull nonetheless. Your father and I are so proud of you. Her mother continued, but we're worried. You're taking on too much. This fight isn't yours. Why risk everything? Why not let someone else handle it because there is no one else? Kate thought. Her mother stepped closer, reaching out. You could come with us. Be with us again. No more fighting. No more responsibility. For a moment, Kate wanted it. More than anything, to see her parents again, to rest, but something felt wrong. Her mother's eyes. They were yellow, not brown. This isn't real. Kate said again, more firmly. You aren't my mother. The image of her mother twisted her face, contorting in rage, her skin turning, blue scales forming. Her body growing larger until Kate's mother was gone, replaced by a monstrous version of a Vraxian clever girl, the creature hissed. But not clever enough. The scene shifted again. Kate found herself in a battlefield. Human soldiers fought alongside Vraxian warriors against shadowy figures that moved too fast to see clearly. One by one, Kate's allies fell. The hunt shadow were everywhere, unstoppable. You will fail. The voice said. This is the future. The only possible outcome. Kate watched as a shadow fell over her. The massive form of a hunt shadow warrior stood above her. Its 4 red eyes glowing, its claws dripping with blood. Blue and red. You are nothing, it said, in a voice like grinding stones. The hunt shadow raised its claws. Ready to strike, Kate stood her ground, staring up at the creature. This is not real, she said again. I choose my own future. The hunt shadow froze, its form wavering. I choose hope. Kate continued, I choose to fight. Not because I will win, but because the fight itself matters. The hunt shadow screamed, a sound that tore through Kate's mind. The battlefield dissolved. Everything dissolved. Kate found herself floating in emptiness again. The voice, when it came, was weaker. You cannot win, human. Your species is doomed. Your world will burn. Maybe, Kate acknowledged, but not without a fight. Not without showing the universe what humans are capable of, and not today. The emptiness shattered. Kate gasped as she found herself back in the clearing. The rain had stopped. The sun was breaking through the clouds. Kate removed her hand from the sensor pad. Her legs shook, her body drenched in sweat. She nearly collapsed, but forced herself to remain standing. The Vraxians stared at her in silence. Shax stepped forward, checking a device in her hand. 15 minutes, she said, her voice translator unable to hide her astonishment. 15 minutes and 7 seconds. You resisted longer than any being we have ever tested. Kate took a deep breath, steadying herself. It helps when you've already faced your worst fears. Shax tilted her head. That night when your parents. I don't talk about that, Kate said, cutting her off. The Vraxian commander nodded, a gesture she had learned from humans. A sign of respect. You have passed all our tests, human. You have earned the right to stand with us against the Hunt Shadow. The other warriors clicked and hissed in agreement. Kate had earned something few outsiders ever had. Vraxian respect. Kate nodded back. Too tired for words, she had faced the creature and won. But the real battle was still to come. The Hunt Shadow were real. Not mind games, not simulations, real hunters with real weapons. As if summoned by her thoughts, an alarm blared across the camp. A Vraxian warrior ran toward them, calling out in their native language. Shax turned to Kate, her yellow eyes wide. They have found us, she translated, the Hunt Shadow. They are coming. Kate felt a chill that had nothing to do with her wet clothes. How many? Shax checked the data. On her wrist device, 1 ship, 1 hunter. A scout. Kate frowned. Just one, the Vraxian commander nodded. They always send one first to test our defenses, to determine if we are worthy. Pray, how long do we have? Shax looked up at the sky. The ship will land. Within the hour, the hunt will begin immediately after. Kate straightened, ignoring her exhaustion. Tell everyone to prepare. We need to be ready. As Shax moved away, barking orders to her warriors, Kate looked toward the horizon. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the camp. Somewhere out there, a Hunt Shadow was coming, a real one. Not a mind trick, not a simulation. Kate had passed all the Vraxian tests, but the true test was just beginning. Kate reached the camp, her lungs burning, her legs weak from exertion. Only a handful of Vraxian warriors had returned, their numbers decimated by the Hunt Shadow ambush. Kate gathered the survivors in the command tent. They tricked us, Kate said, her voice hoarse. We thought it was one scout. It was a hunting party. Kells, one of the warriors who had survived, nodded grimly. A common tactic. One we should have anticipated. How many? Kate asked. 5, Kells replied. 5 hunters. We killed 2. The others pursue our scattered forces. Kate looked at the holographic map. The Hunt Shadow ship was marked with a red icon 10 miles north. 3 smaller icons showed the positions of the remaining hunters closing in on the camp. We need to get a message to Earth, Kate said. Warn them. Communications are blocked. Kells said the hunters have technology that disrupts our signals. Kate considered their options. The Vraxian shuttle was hidden 5 miles east. It had emergency communications equipment powerful enough to break through the disruption. But reaching it meant crossing territory now patrolled by Hunt Shadow hunters. I can go, Kate said. Smaller, faster. The hunters might overlook me. Kells made a clicking sound of disagreement. You would be tracked, killed. The Hunt Shadow can sense body heat, detect movement. They are the perfect predators. Nothing is perfect, Kate replied. Every predator has weaknesses. We just need to find them. The remaining Vraxians looked at Kate with new respect. She had faced the Hunt Shadow and survived. She had earned the right to lead. There is a way, Kells said reluctantly. The caves. You proved you can navigate them. The tunnel system extends for miles. Some passages might lead close to where our shuttle is hidden. Kate nodded. It was their best option. The caves would mask heat signatures, block tracking technology. The Hunt Shadow would have to follow, physically making them vulnerable to traps and ambushes. What about the rest of you? Kate asked. We will create a distraction, Kells said. Draw the hunters away from your path, give you time to reach the shuttle. Kate looked at the Vraxian warriors. They were offering to sacrifice themselves for her for the mission. She shook her head. No. No more sacrifices. I won't leave you. To die. Kells placed a clawed hand on Kate's shoulder. It is not about dying human, it is about purpose. Shax understood this. You must understand it too. One messenger is worth more than 20 dead warriors. Kate wanted to argue, but the logic was sound. If the Hunt Shadow reached Earth unprepared, the casualties would be in the millions, possibly billions. One small group of warriors against those odds. The math was simple. Very well, Kate said. But we do this smart. No heroics. No last stands. Delay, harass. Retreat live to fight another day. The Vraxians agreed. They gathered weapon supplies, a map of the cave system. Kate studied it, memorizing the key passages, the exits closest to the shuttle location. The plan came together quickly. The Vraxian warriors would split into 3 groups. Each would attack a different hunt shadow hunter using hit-and-run tactics. The goal was not to kill, but to distract, to lead the hunters away from Kate's path. Kate prepared herself, checking her weapon. The energy cell was at half capacity, enough for 20 more shots if she was careful. She adjusted the Vraxian armor, ensuring full mobility. Food, water, medical supplies all went into a small pack. The last item was a data crystal containing everything the Vraxians knew about the hunt shadow, their weaknesses, their strengths, their tactics. The crystal was small, barely the size of her thumbnail, but it contained information that might save billions of lives. The Vraxian warriors watched as Kate made her final preparations. Their yellow eyes glowing in the dim light of the tent. Kells approached Kate one last time. The warrior towered over the human female, but there was respect in her posture. "You have proven yourself worthy." "Kate Miller," Kells said formally. "May your hunt be successful." Kate nodded, accepting the ritual words. "May your claws strike true," she replied in the Vraxian tradition. The warriors moved out, disappearing into the night. Kate waited until they were gone, then slipped away in the opposite direction. Her destination was a cave entrance half a mile from camp. She moved silently, years of training guiding her steps. Every shadow might hide a hunt shadow. Every sound might be a predator tracking her. The cave entrance was hidden behind a fallen tree. Kate squeezed through the narrow opening. The darkness swallowed her immediately, but she was prepared this time. A small light attached to her wrist illuminated the passage ahead. Kate checked the map once more, then shut off the light. Her eyes would adjust better in total darkness. She moved forward, one hand on the wall, counting steps, tracking turns. The cave system was complex, a maze of interconnected tunnels, some natural, some clearly carved by tools. Kate wondered who had created these passages. The Vraxians had not mentioned previous inhabitants. In the distance, Kate heard sounds, energy weapons, roars of pain or rage. The distraction had begun. The Vraxian warriors engaging the hunt shadow, drawing them away. Kate quickened her pace. The caves grew colder, deeper. She estimated she had traveled nearly a mile underground. The passages narrowed in places, forcing her to crawl. The darkness was absolute. Something moved ahead. Kate froze, listening. The cave creatures, the ones she had encountered during the trial, were they still here? She held her breath, waited. The sound did not repeat. Kate continued forward. She reached a junction where 5 tunnels converged. Kate consulted her mental map. The second tunnel from the left should lead toward the shuttle. Kate turned down the passage and immediately sensed something wrong. The air felt different, warmer, disturbed. Kate pressed herself against the wall, listening. A subtle sound echoed from deeper in the tunnel. Breathing, not cave creatures. Something larger, hunt shadow. Kate backed away slowly, returning to the junction. The hunters had found the caves, were following her, either by chance or by tracking her somehow. She needed another route. Kate took the far right tunnel. It would add miles to her journey, but if it meant avoiding the hunters. She moved quickly now. The mission had become more urgent. If the hunt shadow were in the caves, they might reach the shuttle before her, might destroy it. Kate ran her hand along the wall, guiding herself through the darkness. The tunnel sloped upward. A good sign. It might lead to the surface. The passage widened, opening into a large chamber. Kate risked using her light for a moment. The beam revealed a vast cavern. Stalactites hung from the ceiling like stone teeth. An underground lake filled most of the chamber, its water black and still. Kate checked her map. This chamber wasn't marked. She would need to circle the lake, find another passage leading east. The light caught something at the lake's edge, footprints large, 3-toed hunt shadow tracks. Kate switched off the light immediately, her heart pounding. They were here. They were ahead of her somehow. She crouched in the darkness, considering her options. Going back meant facing the hunter in the other tunnel. Going forward meant possibly walking into a trap a splash from the lake. Kate held her breath. Something was moving in the water. Something large. She backed away slowly, feeling for the tunnel entrance. Then, stopped a new sound behind her. From the tunnel she had just left, trapped Kate looked around desperately for another exit. The chamber had multiple openings, but which one led to the surface, which one led to the shuttle? Kate made her decision. She moved sideways along the chamber wall, away from both sounds, looking for another passage. Her hand found an opening. A small tunnel barely large enough to crawl through. Kate squeezed into it. The passage was tight, claustrophobic, but it led away from the hunters. Kate crawled, ignoring the stones scraping her back, the dirt filling her mouth and nose. She kept moving. The tunnel began to slope upward more steeply. Kate felt air moving, fresh air. She crawled faster. The passage opened suddenly. Kate found herself emerging from the side of a hill. Stars shone overhead. The moon was setting dawn. Approaching, Kate oriented herself. The shuttle should be 2 miles east. She moved through the forest, staying low, using every shadow, every bit of cover. The Vraxian armor helped masking her heat signature. Kate heard distant sounds of battle. The distraction was still working, still drawing the hunter's attention. The sky began to lighten as Kate reached the edge of a meadow. The Vraxian shuttle sat in the center, its sleek blue hull gleaming in the early morning light. Kate studied the area, looking for signs of hunters for traps. The meadow seemed clear, empty. Too empty. Kate circled the meadow, staying within the tree line. Something felt wrong. The shuttle was unguarded, exposed. Kate reached the eastern edge of the clearing. The shuttle was 100 yards away, a short sprint across open ground. Every instinct screamed danger. Kate weighed her options. Wait for full daylight when visibility would be better, but she would be more exposed. Or go now in the half-light when shadows could hide both her and any hunters. The mission came first. Kate prepared herself, checking her weapon. Taking a deep breath, she ran. The meadow grass whipped at her legs. The shuttle grew larger with each stride. Kate was halfway there when the ground erupted before her. A hunt shadow rose from a concealed pit, its armor covered in dirt and grass camouflage, its red eyes fixed on Kate. She didn't hesitate, didn't slow. She fired her weapon, the energy bolts hitting the predator square in the chest. The hunt shadow staggered back. Kate dodged around it, still running for the shuttle. The hunter recovered quickly, pursuing its longer legs, eating the distance between them. Kate Miller stood at the edge of the forest, clearing her throat as the alien delegation approached. The 7-foot-tall Vraxian females towered over her, with their blue, scaled skin gleaming in the sunlight. Their forearms ended in clawed fingers, and their eyes glowed yellow in the shadows of the trees. The lead alien Shak stepped forward, her mandibles clicking in what humans had learned was amusement. Human female. You are not what we expected when your government promised us their strongest. Warrior Kate kept her face neutral even as her heart raced. The Vraxians had arrived on Earth 3 months ago, their ships appearing suddenly in orbit around the planet. They came with tales of the Hunt Shadow, a predatory species that had been chasing them across galaxies. Commander, I assure you that appearances can be deceiving. Kate said she was 5 feet 4 inches tall, with brown hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. Her military uniform hung loose on her frame. She looked nothing like the warriors the aliens had imagined. Shak circled Kate, studying her with those unblinking yellow eyes. The other Vraxians stayed back, their posture tense. Your species is puzzling to us. Human females appear physically weaker than males. Yet, your government sends you to represent Earth in combat trials. The Hunt Shadow will not be impressed. Kate smiled. They never are until it's too late. The first meeting between humans and Vraxians had been tense. 3 massive ships had appeared in orbit, broadcasting a single message in every human language: help us. The world governments had panicked, at first thinking it was a trick, but the Vraxians had been genuine. Their home planet had been destroyed by the Hunt Shadow, and they were seeking allies. Kate had been chosen not because she was the strongest human physically, but because she understood alien psychology better than anyone. She had studied the limited data on the Vraxians, learning their customs, their fighting styles, their weaknesses. The training grounds had been set up in a remote area of Wyoming far from civilian populations, a series of obstacles and combat challenges designed to prepare both species for the arrival of the Hunt Shadow. Kate had spent weeks studying Vraxian combat techniques. Their forearms gave them advantages in close quarters fighting, but they lacked the endurance of humans. Shax led Kate to the first challenge. A massive boulder sat in the center of a mud pit. The goal was simple: move the boulder to the marked location. The Vraxian warriors had each taken turns showing their strength, forearms straining as they pushed the massive stone. Kate removed her jacket, rolled up her sleeves, and stepped into the mud. The Vraxians watched, with interest, some making clicking sounds that translated roughly as laughter. She placed her hands against the cool surface of the rock, took a deep breath, and pushed. The rock didn't move. Kate adjusted her stance, dug her boots into the mud, and pushed. Again, nothing. The Vraxians began to turn away, losing interest. "Wait," Kate called. She closed her eyes, focusing on her breathing. Human strength was different than Vraxian strength. The aliens relied on sudden bursts of power. Kate had endurance. She pushed steadily, gradually increasing pressure. Her muscles burned. Her face turned red with effort. For nearly a minute, nothing happened. Then slowly, almost imperceptibly, the boulder began to move. Kate kept pushing, her feet sliding in the mud, but her determination unwavering. The boulder moved inch by inch, Kate never stopping, never resting. The Vraxians returned, watching in silence as the human female accomplished what should have been impossible, given her size. The stone finally reached the marked spot, and Kate stepped back, mud covering her uniform, sweat dripping from her face. Shax approached her, mandibles no longer clicking in amusement. "Interesting. You use technique rather than raw strength." Kate wiped her brow. "It's how humans have always survived. We adapt." The second challenge involved climbing a massive wall of smooth stone stood before them. Kate watched as the Vraxian warriors used their forearms to scale it quickly, their claws finding tiny cracks and holds invisible to human eyes. When Kate's turn came, she approached the wall differently. She studied it carefully, looking for a pattern. The Vraxians waited, some already dismissing her. Kate reached into her pocket and pulled out a small device. She pressed it against the wall, and it projected a heat map showing temperature differences across the surface. Some areas were cooler than others, indicating different densities in the stone. Kate began to climb, using these cooler spots as handholds. The Vraxians watched, in confusion, as the human female made her way up the wall slowly but steadily. When she reached the top, she sat on the edge looking down at them. "Technology," Kate said. "That's another human strength." Shax made a sound that the translator interpreted as grudging respect. The human female was proving more interesting than expected. They moved to the combat ring, a circular area marked with glowing lines. The rules were simple: stay inside the circle longer than your opponent. A Vraxian warrior named Kel stepped forward. She was smaller than Shax, but still towered over Kate. Her forearms flexed, showing impressive muscle beneath blue scales. Kate entered the ring calmly. She had studied Vraxian fighting styles. They relied on overwhelming opponents, with multiple strikes from their forearms. Their center of gravity was higher than humans, making them faster but less stable. Kells attacked immediately, her arms moving in a blur. Kate dodged the first strikes, moving constantly, keeping just out of reach. The Vraxian grew frustrated, her attacks becoming more aggressive, less controlled. Kate waited for her moment. When Kells overextended on an attack, Kate dropped low, sweeping her leg. The alien warrior staggered off balance. Kate pushed forward, driving her shoulder into the Vraxian's midsection. Kells toppled backward, falling outside the ring. The other Vraxians clicked and hissed in surprise. Kate stood in the center of the ring, breathing heavily but still ready. Shax stepped forward. Next. Opponent, she said. Kate fought 3 more Vraxian warriors, each larger and stronger than the last. She didn't win every match, but she lasted far longer than the aliens had expected. By the end of the day, she had earned, if not their respect, then at least their curiosity. That night, they gathered around a fire. The Vraxian females sharing stories of their homeworld, a planet now destroyed by the Hunt Shadow. They hunt for sport. Shax explained, her voice translator making her sound almost sad. They collect trophies from worthy opponents, yet they have never encountered humans. Tell me about your world, Kate asked, accepting a strange blue drink from one of the warriors. It was beautiful. Shax said, our cities reached into the clouds. Our oceans were deeper than yours, filled with creatures that glowed in the darkness. We had peace for 1,000 years. Then the Hunt Shadow came. They did not communicate, did not negotiate. They simply began to hunt, and now they follow you, Kate said. Yes, Shax confirmed. They follow us to find new hunting grounds. We did not mean to lead them to Earth, but they would have found you eventually. All species that reach the stars eventually face the Hunt Shadow. Kate looked up at the night sky, wondering what was coming. What makes them so dangerous? Everything, Shax replied. They are stronger, faster, smarter than most species. Their technology is beyond even what we understand, and they live for the hunt. It is their religion, their purpose. The Vraxian leader turned, to Kate, her yellow eyes reflecting the firelight. Tell me, human female, why did your government really send you? Kate met her gaze. Because I understand what it's like to be underestimated, Commander, and I know how to use that to win. The Vraxian camp transformed into a military operation. Warriors strapped on armor, checked weapons, established defensive positions. Kate watched, impressed by their efficiency. Despite their size, the blue aliens moved with purpose and precision. Shax approached carrying what looked like body armor. Its smaller pieces fitted together with an iridescent blue metal. You should wear this, the Vraxian commander said. It won't stop a direct hit from Hunt Shadow weapons, but it might keep you alive long enough to matter. Kate accepted the armor, slipping it over her uniform. It was surprisingly light. The metal plates adjusted to her form almost like a living thing. Adaptive material. Shax explained. It learns your movements, becomes part of you. The more you wear it, the better it protects. Kate flexed, testing her range of motion. Thank you. The Vraxian made a dismissive gesture. You earned it. She handed Kate a weapon next. It resembled a pistol, but with organic components growing along its barrel. The grip molded to Kate's hand as she took it. Energy weapon. Shax said. 3 settings. Stun, wound, kill. The Hunt Shadow have natural armor. The kill setting might penetrate it. Might. Kate examined the weapon carefully. Might isn't very reassuring. Shax made that clicking sound again. Nothing about the Hunt Shadow is reassuring. A Vraxian scout rushed into camp, breathing heavily. She spoke rapidly in their native language. Shax listened, her posture stiffening. The ship has landed. The commander translated for Kate. 10 miles north. The hunter comes on foot. Kate nodded. What do we know about their tactics? Shax gestured for Kate to follow her to a command tent. Inside, a holographic display showed the surrounding terrain. Hunt Shadow hunters are solitary, Shax explained. They track, observe, study before attacking. They prefer to isolate targets, draw them away from the group. They are patient. Sometimes they will observe for days before striking. Days. Kate frowned. We don't have days. We need to deal with this. Scout quickly before reinforcements arrive. Shax tilted her head. The human speaks with wisdom. The Vraxian commander pointed to the hologram. This area here. The hills provide cover but limit visibility. It would be a good place for an ambush. Kate studied the map. But the hunter would expect that. True, Shax agreed. Which is why we will not be there. She pointed to another location. A river crossing. The water will mask scent, trails, limit technology, and it provides multiple escape routes. It could work, Kate said. But the Hunt Shadow have faced your kind before. They know your tactics. We need something different, something they haven't seen. Shax turned her yellow eyes to Kate. What do you suggest? Kate looked at the map thoughtfully. The Hunt Shadow. Expect Vraxian tactics, strength, direct confrontation. They wouldn't expect a human approach. She pointed to a location on the map. This clearing here. What if I go alone? The Vraxian commander clicked in alarm. Impossible. The hunter would kill you. In seconds, perhaps Kate said. Or perhaps the Hunt Shadow would be curious. A new species, a new prey. They would want to study me. Observe my capabilities. They wouldn't attack immediately. Shax considered this. Your plan has merit. But the risk is necessary, Kate finished. I don't need to defeat it, just delay it long enough for your warriors to get into position. The Vraxian warriors exchanged looks. Some clicked in what Kate had learned was disagreement, others hissed support. Kate waited as Shax considered. The plan very well? The commander decided we will try the human's way, but Kate. She used the human name carefully. When the time comes to retreat, you must do so without hesitation. Pride has no place in survival. Kate nodded, understanding. The plan was set. She would enter the clearing alone, appearing vulnerable. The Vraxian warriors would circle the area, keeping hidden. The Hunt Shadow would likely approach to investigate this new species, giving the aliens time to move into position. When the trap was ready, Kate would signal and the warriors would attack from all sides. Night had fallen completely when Kate left the camp. The stars shone brightly overhead. The moon cast enough light to see by. Kate moved through the forest carefully. Every sense alert. The weapon Shax had given her was holstered at her side. The armor felt warm against her skin, adapting to her movements. The clearing was a half-mile from camp. Kate reached it without incident. She paused at the edge, listening. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. The normal sounds of night creatures had stopped. Something was out there. Kate stepped into the clearing, making herself visible. The moonlight illuminated the open space. Kate stood in the center, looking small, vulnerable. Her heart raced, but her face remained calm. She had faced death before. This was no different. Minutes passed. Nothing moved. Kate began to wonder if they had misjudged the Hunt Shadow's location. Then she felt it. A presence. A subtle shift in the air. Kate resisted, the urge to turn to look. Instead she spoke. I know you're there. Kate said, her voice steady. Am not armed. She slowly raised her hands, showing they were empty. This was a lie. The weapon was still holstered, but the Hunt Shadow wouldn't know human customs. They might believe her. Nothing happened. Then a voice deep and rumbling came from the edge of the clearing. What are you? The words were translated through a device similar to what the Vraxians used, inhuman. Kate answered. Earth is my homeworld. A figure stepped from the shadows and Kate felt her breath catch. The Hunt Shadow was massive, its skin a mottled gray and black pattern that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. 4 glowing red eyes were set in a face that resembled no earth creature Kate had ever seen. Its body was powerful, armored with natural plates. Its 4 arms each ended in clawed hands. 2 held weapons, the other 2 flexed as if eager to grab to tear human. The creature said, testing the word, I have not hunted your kind. Before we're new to the galactic community, Kate said, keeping her voice steady. The Hunt Shadow moved closer. Its movement fluid despite its size. It circled Kate, studying her. You are small. Weak. Why do the Vraxian hide behind you? They don't, Kate said. I came alone. The predator made a sound like grinding stones. It might have been laughter. You lie, I sense them. Their fear, their anticipation. This is a trap. Kate shrugged. Perhaps, but you came anyway. Curious, the Hunt Shadow stopped circling, standing directly in front of Kate. Yes, curious, your species is unknown to us. The Vraxian flee before us, yet you stand here alone. Why? Kate met those glowing red eyes. I wanted to see you. To understand what we face, the predator tilted its massive head. Your death, that is what you face. Not today, Kate said. The hunt shadow moved with shocking speed, its arm lashing out. Kate barely had time to dodge. The claws missed her by inches. She rolled, coming up in a fighting stance. The predator watched her movement. With interest quick for such a small creature, it said. For prey, Kate kept her distance, him not prey. The hunt shadow advanced slowly, its weapons raised. The moonlight gleamed off metal and bone. Kate backed away, matching its pace, keeping the distance. Between them, constant Yurvraxian allies have positioned themselves around this clearing. The predator said, I can sense them, smell them, but they hesitate. Why? Because I asked them to. Kate answered, I wanted to talk first, talk. The hunt shadow made that grinding sound again. Prey talks when it cannot fight. Kate stood her ground, that assumes him prey. The predator stopped tilting its head again. You have courage, human. Ill honor that by making your death quick. Kate smiled. Finally, something we agree on. She pressed a small button on her wrist communicator. The signal to the waiting Vraxians. Nothing happened. The hunt shadow made that grinding sound again. Your allies have abandoned you, human. Or perhaps a scream echoed from the forest. Then another. Vraxian cries of pain and surprise. I am not alone either. Human. The hunt shadow said. My ship carried more than just me. Kate felt cold realization dawn. The scout ship had brought more than one hunter. The plan had failed. The hunt shadow raised its weapon. This hunt ends now. Kate dove to the side as energy blasted the ground where she had stood. She rolled, coming up with her own weapon, drawn, firing 3 rapid shots. The energy bolts hit the predator square in the chest. The hunt shadow staggered back, more surprised than hurt. The armor plates on its chest smoldering but intact. You fight well, human. The predator advanced again, but not well enough. Kate fired again, aiming for the eyes. The hunt shadow moved with impossible speed, dodging the shots. It returned fire, forcing Kate to run for the trees. She needed cover, needed to regroup. The forest erupted in chaos. Vraxian warriors battled shadowy figures between the trees. Energy weapons flashed. Claws tore through armor. Kate ran, trying to reach Shax and the others. The hunt shadow pursued her. Its heavy footsteps shaking the ground, Kate broke through to a small clearing, where 3 Vraxian warriors lay dead, their blue blood dark in the moonlight. Standing over them was a second hunt shadow, this one larger than the first. Its armor more elaborate, its weapons more deadly. The leader, Kate realized. The first had been a distraction. This was the true threat. Both hunt shadow now converged on her. Kate backed away, weapon raised. But there was nowhere to run. They had her trapped. A blue blur shot from the trees, Shax. The Vraxian commander slammed into the larger hunt shadow, knocking it sideways. Her forearms striking with precision. The predator roared in pain and surprise. Kate took the opportunity, firing at the second hunter, driving it back. Run, human, Shax called as she grappled with the leader. Go, Kate hesitated, go. Shax roared. The Vraxian commander was bleeding from multiple wounds, but she fought on her claws, finding gaps in the hunt shadow's armor.